Hi everyone, this is Karak from ACG, and today I'm frustrated, weighted down with flowers, and just a little bit confused as I bring you the review for Cradle, a half-walking simulator, half-exploratory puzzler by Flying Cafe for Semi-Animals, out now on Steam, which is a developer name I don't even need to make a joke about. Cradle tells the tale of you, a boy waking up with amnesia somewhere in Mongolia and trying to figure out what the hell is going on in a world that involves robots with planners for legs, genetic manipulation, intense hatred for ugly people, and actually, it's just basically Survivor Mongolia, futuristic version. So here we go. The review for Cradle: floating buses, real human eyes, and Blade Runner meets Hot or Not. Graphics are up first as always, and they're beautiful, with an aesthetic towards the natural and the unnatural melding together in the future. Not so much Blade Runner in its stylistic anti-natural feel, and not so much Book of Eli, where the future's nothing but dirt and cannibals. Cradle's somewhere in the middle and brings easy comparisons to moments of playing Rage, or sometimes even Fallout 3. An outstanding feature of the game is the technical wizardry the developers used, recording voice actors' real eyes and placed them within the models of the characters, resulting in absolutely uncanny emotional response. Draw distance is also wickedly long, and though there isn't much to show, what is there has a barren beauty to it that can't be denied. Sadly, that makes some of the technical issues doubly frustrating, maybe triply, but I don't need to check my math. You see, the game is one part archaic FOV, one part mouse smoothing, and equal parts jumping puzzles, and you have the perfect crafting recipe for fun neutering soup, dousing you like an ice bucket challenge. There are so many things to like about the graphics, but a 980 GTX should be able to run this thing twice and also calculate the distance to Earth's nearest life-bearing neighbor. Instead, frame rates falter at various times and in unusual places, many times where you're just looking at a stick. The frame rate will plummet, reminding you that it's best not to try to figure out nature. At other times, it's smooth and doesn't hitch at all. It's completely random. Of special note, as I mentioned, is the FOV, which is like something out of a torture chamber and probably wouldn't be so bad if the game didn't occasionally work like Donald Trump's speechwriters, just made of failure, bad timing, and complete lack of awareness about where you are within the game. Additionally, the spacing is off between where you are and where you were, meaning that if there's a hole in a platform or an area, the chance of you sort of John Travolta disco sliding into it like it has an attraction of a Dunkin' Donut results in you falling sideways through a hole, many times to your unfortunate death via sudden stop. It's a real sad reminder of a graphical mishap that ends up causing gameplay blunders, and it's frustrating. Additionally, the absolute dearth of options on the PC side means that if the game does run poorly for you, well, you're just sort of screwed. Sound, music, and voice.
Strange indeed that it was built here.
There's something I don't understand. You said it was abandoned, but it's still operating.
There was an explosion. It's full of some poison. Do you remember anything about that?
I think I know what it was that exploded there.
As always, sound is up first, and it's wonderful, with real outdoor sounds sampled and brought into the game world via very high-quality recordings, resulting in some truly extraordinary moments of audio brilliance. Interactions with the environment and items all ring true to the ear, and there's a vibe of crunchy realism to almost everything within the game. I love the sound. Now, on to music. What is there, and there's a very little, is excellent, with an almost xylophone and ambient synth bound mix. Strangely enough, many of the tracks remind me of those of the ill-fated Spore game, with light plays of single tones echoing for long periods, resulting in uncumbersome music, but ones that are tonally very effective in giving the game a mood and feel that they particularly want. I liked it. There just wasn't a lot. Voice. You know, this is where most games cut their losses and try to save money, and for the most part, you're gonna be nodding yep when you play this game. There are recording issues throughout many of the voiceovers, and they go from not good to pedestrian at best. I think the less said about the voices, the better. Gameplay. You wake up with amnesia in a yurt in Mongolia and quickly find yourself making soup and putting together a female robot with a planter for legs who, once fixed, introduces herself as Ida, which sounds as odd as it is, but the game does wrap you up in an interesting story about a sterility virus, fake bodies, personality transference, and personally trained golden eagles with giant gaping holes where their sternum should be. It feels at times like you're getting crib notes on what should be an incredibly interesting overall narrative, or the fevered dreams of L. Ron Hubbard post-life-ending alien-induced stroke. Let me describe it like this. First 20 minutes of the game, stumble around like a baby, just learning to walk and trying to remap keys and fix the FOV. Next 20 minutes, try to find a stick, not just any stick, as that would make sense, but a stick that perfectly fits some kind of strange natural occurrence that allows you to, pick it up, because strangely, most items in the world have the magical power of Thor's hammer and can't be lifted by anyone other than he who wields the power, despite the fact that the game tells you right at the starting, hey, go find some sticks. Next 20 minutes, try to figure out what the inventory wants you to do, with some items just floating in front of you, uncollectible and unable to put in your inventory despite their small size, while others you put in your pocket with ease, like the aforementioned Stick of Thor and a battery the size of Texas. After that, it's just less obtuse, but it never fully leaves. Plain and simple, the controls are just wonky. The same button is both interact and drop, which is hilarious at first when you basically spend the first 30 minutes of the game looking like someone mid-stroke. Then it just becomes infuriating, with small items being dropped and bouncing around the world, or better yet, lodging themselves in places that make getting them back like some kind of self-humiliation project. Click it, drop item, grab item, move slightly, click item, drop item, find item, grab item, drop item again, click item, drops, bounces, off metal bar, across room, gains acceleration via dark matter, slides under table, whispers, fuck you. It's honestly ridiculous and many times mimics the pixel hunting finding hell of many point and click games, except with all new added 3D frustration. As a walking simulator mixed with a puzzle kind of game, the gameplay is traditional rote with no surprises as you collect and combine items or drop them randomly and then use them on things within the game world. Luckily, a hint system is constantly at play here, though that won't help you at specific times. I have said it before that sometimes creators of interactive art can lose themselves in the game, forgetting that many times the player doesn't know what's going on, especially in a game about a guy with goddamned amnesia. The world's rules need to be solid in this case, and in Cradle's, many times they're not. However, despite all that, whenever you do succeed in any small task, you're rewarded with a furthering of the story, either via notes around the world or Ida's information, and the world doesn't open up in front of you, but it does sort of spread its wings a bit, right until you get to some of the puzzles. Man, oh man, are they forced. This is a wayback machine to a time in games when you'd walk up to the men's bathroom and for some reason it had a 14 combination water lock with a razor trap in it. Many times, a lot of them just didn't make a lot of sense. Now, some of them did, but usually that involved the aforementioned absolutely outstanding movement controls to fumble hump your way around them anyway. Luckily, if you fail some of them, you can skip them, which is actually nice. Fun factor. Games such as this usually derive their fun from being exploratory treatises on unique world narratives and locations. Cradle's absolutely narrow story view, resulting in are pages 4 through 200 missing in this book kind of feel, and the technical issues compounded by world design issues, means that all of the goodness of the game, which there is some in there, gets choked out quickly. The game is interesting from time to time, but at no real time did I feel invested despite an interesting world. In many ways, it's like the encapsulation of a deep sci-fi story, an arbitrarily heavy narrative that we've seen from authors. Only replace the narrative with problematic gameplay, and you have Cradle. So I rate games on a buy, wait for a sale, rent, or never talk about it again rating scale, though the FOV and mouse smoothing issues might be fixed in the future, and they may add some options, and that would go a long way in alleviating the issues. I'm rating the game today for what it offers. At $12.99 for maybe 1 to 2 hours, I feel it's more of a wait for a sale. Though many people may not be affected by the variable frame rate, the squinting FOV, and the sometimes awful item interaction, it's not a guarantee, and neither is your enjoyment here. So that's it for me. If you liked the video, hit like. If you disliked it, hit dislike. Share us on Twitter, whatever. Peace out.